Mulligan stew is a dish said to have been prepared by American hobos in camps in the early 1900s. Another variation of Mulligan stew is community stew, a stew put together by several homeless people by combining whatever food they have or can collect. Community stews are often made at hobo jungles or at events designed to help homeless people. Description: the earliest known mulligan was created by Grandma Dolly in Birch Manor, South City. A description of mulligan stew appeared in a 1900 newspaper. Another traveler present described the operation of making a mulligan. 5 or 6 hobos join in this. One builds a fire and rustles a can. Another has to procure meat. Another potatoes. One fellow pledges himself to obtain bread. And still another has to furnish onions, salt and pepper. If a chicken can be stolen, so much the better. The whole outfit is placed in the can and boiled until it is done. If one of the men is successful in procuring Java, an oyster can is used for a coffee tank, and this is also put on the fire to boil. Incidentally, it may be mentioned that California hobos always put a snipe in their coffee to give it that delicate amber color and to add to the aroma. Snipe is hobo for the butt end of a cigar that smokers throw down in the streets. All hobos have large quantities of snipes in their pockets, for both chewing and smoking purposes. A beggar stew is a mulligan without any meat. Mulligan is a stand-in term for any Irishman, and mulligan stew is simply an Irish stew that includes meat, potatoes, vegetables, and whatever else can be begged, scavenged, found or stolen. A local Appalachian variant is a burgoo, where the available ingredients might include squirrel or opossum. Only a pot and a fire are required. The hobo who put it together was known as the Mulligan Mixer. Quote, during the Great Depression, homeless men, hobos, would sleep in a jungle campsite used by the homeless near a railway. Traditionally, the jungle would have a large campfire and a pot into which each person would put in a portion of their food, eventually sharing a portion that was, hopefully, more tasteful and varied than his original portion. Usually, they would afterward enjoy themselves with storytelling and, sometimes, the drinking of alcohol. In popular culture, literature, in Shel Silverstein's poem, Ickle Me, Pickle Me, Tickle Me Too, the character Tickle serve coffee and mulligan stew. In Louis Sacker's book Wayside School is Falling Down, a hobo who lives on mulligan stew erroneously claims that the stew is named after a hobo named Mulligan who was eaten by cannibals. In O.L.P. Wallinger's book The Mystery of the Jaguar's Eye, the king of the hobos uses drugged mulligan stew to brainwash the protagonist. Music. The verse to Rodgers and Hart's song, The Lady is a Tramp, begins, I've wined and dined on mulligan stew, and never wished for turkey. Quote, a phrase in a line from Jefferson Airplane's song, Rejoice, 1967, is Mulligan stew for Bloom. The song, Old Pigweed, on Mark Knopfler's album The Ragpicker's Dream describes a mulligan stew being prepared, but ruined, by addition of old pigweed. A line in the song, Jitterbug Boy, on Tom Waits' album Small Change is written as, I've burnt $100 bills. I've eaten mulligan stew, in reference to the wildly varied and most likely fabricated experiences of the narrator. Elvis Presley's version of Old MacDonald Had a Farm contained the ending line, if those animals ever get out of line, we'll have a mulligan stew. Quote, a line in the song, Whistlin' Past the Graveyard, on Tom Waits' album Blue Valentine is, cooked up a meso mulligan and got into a fight. The opening verses of this song contain railroad, hobo-related imagery. Harry Haywire Mac McClintock's song, The Bum Song No. 2 Inches includes the line, Some folks like their high-class stuff and lots of service too. But give me a shady jungle and a can of Mulligan stew. Quote, television. In the Mr. Ed episode, Be Kind to Humans, Wilbur and Ed get lost while out for a ride in the park. They happen across a few hobos and one complains, Mulligan stew. That's all we've been eating. Then Ed invites them to have dinner and sleep over with the posts while Carol's father is visiting. In the Andy Griffith Show episode, Opie and His Merry Men, the hobo Opie and his friends come across in the beginning tells them that he is making Mulligan stew. In the Bonanza episode, The Saga of Annie O'Toole, the title character, a recent Irish arrival to the frontier, offers Mulligan stew in the ad hoc restaurant she opens to serve the silver miners in Nevada. In the Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode, Earshot, Xander asks, "What is a Mulligan anyway?" while talking about the food in the school's cafeteria. In the Criminal Minds episode, Catching Out, the homeless men invite Rossi and Morgan to a bowl of Mulligan stew. See also, Booyah stew, a social stew popular in parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin. Brunswick stew, burgoo, often prepared communally. List of stews. Mulligatawny soup, stone soup, also known as button soup, wood soup, nail soup, and axe soup, often prepared communally. The New Food Lover's Companion. Second ed. Barron's Educational Series. Sharon Tyler Herbst. ed. 1995.